space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim, and with me, of course, is Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And we're back to talk about the second, third, whatever it is.
It's episode 3, but it's the second one we're seeing.
Yeah, of Prodigy, which is called Starstruck. And then because we've got this little break before Discovery hits, we get to talk about the Dominion War again. So we're inching it forward. We'll get there. We knew it was a long project when we said we were going to do it.
I think even if we were just doing Dominion War, we'd take nearly a year at it.
Yeah, exactly. So it might take us a couple of years all told with all the new stuff we've got on the minute.
But you can just search it on a playlist on YouTube and just watch the Dominion War episodes.
Absolutely.
I've made it very easy to find on YouTube, everything.
And they're all marked in the podcast directory. So, if you want to just listen to the Dominion War, they're all on there. Or up to Improbable Cause is what we're covering.
Which we're doing tonight. I've had amazing self-control this week, actually. Because I've not watched the Dies cast.
Ooh, that is pretty good.
I've watched Improbable Cause a couple of times to get ready for tonight. And I've managed to stop myself both times as it's starting the Dies cast.
And that's even more difficult with Netflix now.
Well, that's it.
It wants to put the next one on, whereas before, at least, you either had to leave your video on or you had
to... by video, these are on their different tapes.
It was, wasn't it? I remember now. Yeah, it was... which one?
It's... I've got the tape over there, so it's with... Through the Looking Glass.
And
Improbable Cause. And then it's the Dies cast and the one where they build the light sail ship.
Explorers, I remember.
Explorers.
See, DS9 had that. They were quite canny with that, with the two-parters, because it's like, right, if we make them episodes 1 and 2, they only have to buy 1 tape. But if we make them episodes 2 and 3, they've got to buy 2 tapes to get the whole story.
Well, let's be fair, how DS9 moved into the story arc in later seasons, you have to buy the whole season anyway to follow it.
Little bit of Trek news, not a lot, but it's just to do with scheduling, which is not going to affect people in the UK, for example, because we've not got Prodigy sorted out yet. But Prodigy apparently is a 20-episode first season, whereas we'd either always assumed it were 10 because all the others are 10, or I'm pretty sure I read somewhere it were 10.
Yeah, I'm quite sure that we heard it was just 10, but...
I don't know if they were fibbing or whether they've got an extended order from Nickelodeon, but they've also said they've renewed it for season 2.
Yeah.
Which doesn't include these 20, so...
So that looks like hopefully another 20.
Yeah, so we're getting at least 20 plus episodes of Lowered Prodigy. But the way they're laying them out is this. We're going to get 5 in this batch. So we're going to have 1 week where we get a Prodigy and a Discovery, which we will cover on 1 episode. It'll probably be a long episode. Then we're having a break from Prodigy until Discovery's nearly finished. Then the last 2 episodes of Discovery, as it stands right now, are also going to have a Prodigy. And then Prodigy is going to run for 3 more weeks after that, which we assume Picard will then start. And then there's another 10 of Prodigy that's going to come sometime in 2022. We were saying just before we went on air, we won't be surprised if they're going to dot them in between the others. So we might get a couple after, another 5 after Picard.
Maybe a bit of overlap, the same with Discovery.
Yeah, and then probably start Strange New Worlds. Then maybe another 5 before the cycle starts again with Lower Decks. But who knows? And hopefully at some point we'll get them in the UK. But...
Well, Nickelodeon said that they're not going to show them until CBS or Paramount Plus has shown the entire first season, then Nickelodeon are going to do it, which you can understand because they're like on Paramount Plus, they're getting the adult audience are watching it with the kids. But once it goes to Nickelodeon, that'll be the pure kid audience.
Yeah,
and Nickelodeon won't want breaks. They'll want to be able to go, yet we have 20 weeks to keep the kids' interest. Yep. If we have big breaks, they're going to walk away.
Exactly, because like I remember watching stuff when you were a kid, and a year is a lot longer time when you're a kid.
Oh,
and you'd watch your cartoons or whatever, and it'd be on, it'd finish, and then what feels like 2 decades later, but it's probably only actually less than a year, but it'd come on again, and you'd be like, "Oh, I remember something about it." You know, I used to like this. I think I used to like it. I can't, and even more so now because we have serialized storytelling. Like, to be fair, some kids' cartoons did used to do serialized storytelling, like your Cities of Gold and your Ulysses and your stuff like that. But you know, your He-Mans weren't so much with the ongoing story.
To be fair, when you look at the serialized cartoons, like you say with Ulysses and Cities of Gold, they were ahead of serialized TV.
They were half like Cities of Gold. I missed the last episode, and
painful.
As I said, like as a kid, time seems to go on a lot longer. So it felt like I'd been watching Cities of Gold all my life, you know, waiting for this ending. And I've heard since that it finished on a cliffhanger anyway for a sequel series that they did. I think they have made it now, but they didn't make it at the time. Anyway, so Starstruck, episode 3 of. And straight off the bat, we got what we expected. The end credits sequence we had at the end of last episode is now the opening credits.
That's quite a normal thing to do with the premiere, where you put the end credits at the end, so you don't, if it has any spoilers in it, they're not you get to watch the episode before you see them things.
Yeah, unlike the DS9 episode we're looking at in a minute, which has got an Amber and Tane in the opening credits, and obviously we had fun with it with Picard when season 1 of Picard aired, didn't we? Where Jonathan Frakes kept coming up on the credits, even when he was supposed to be in it, and Jerry Ryan when she's only in it last 2 minutes. But yeah, giving away Janeway would have been, I mean, if they hadn't gone all in on the promotional material.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So we finally get to spend a bit of time with the Janeway program then. We obviously got the tease last episode, but...
Yeah, well, this literally starts where the last episode ended.
Yeah. And we get I think they're quite clever with how they really clearly sort of lay out the rules of what she can and can't do. Because this could have easily been, right, Janeway's in charge now, she's giving the orders, and that's it. But no, this needs to be a show about the characters that we met last week, and Janeway needs to be there to nudge them in the right direction and guide them a bit. And she's really clear with that. She's like, I'm programmed to assist.
Yeah, I can only control lower level systems. And I've been thinking about this all week, and okay, she can maybe directly as a link to the computer while she's just a hologram from stood there doing low-level systems. But we already know in Federation technology in this time period, the holograms are solid. Look at the Doctor from Voyager. So she could quite easily be solid and press the buttons herself.
That's a very good point. And maybe we'll get that in a later episode.
Yeah, like I think she's saying less than what she can do.
I think she is.
I think she's playing. I think she's playing it smart. Like we know that holograms are very self-aware as soon as they come on. We have seen that they know who is who, and she must she'll immediately recognise half of these as being Alpha Quadrant species in the wrong place.
She calls thingy a Tellarite, doesn't
she? Yeah, but she'd obviously know Tellarites, the Medusan, the Brickar. Who else? She won't know Dal. She won't know
Gwen. And Murph, there's not a lot to know.
Murph, really. She won't know.
Yeah.
But she'd know half of them and they're in the wrong place. And I think she's playing it sort of a bit coy. Oh, you must be cadets and all that. But I think she's fully aware that they don't really belong on this ship, and she's trying to work, and she's working out what they are.
I think so, because you get the bit where she says, "Oh, I can tell you're not full officers, you're cadets," but she pauses before she says cadets, and the view we have is like zoomed into Janeway's eyes, and you can almost see her sort of ticking over, like, what should I say here? Because it's like she don't want to embarrass them and risk sort of making enemies of them. Like if she comes straight out and says you're not meant to be on this ship, it's going to create antagonism. But she's like, I'll give them a bit of leeway and I'll make it look like
it's almost like she's trying to find out the lay of the land.
Yeah, she wants them to feel like they're the ones in charge for now, and so that she can nudge them and help them and everything. So yeah, I'm liking where Janeway's going so far. And there's a really cool bit where, first of all, she says, "I'm going to help you on your journey back to Federation space." So that, I think we're just going to have to put a pin in that for now, because that's obviously going to tie into the bigger mystery of what is this ship? Why is it here?
Yeah, like we get a few more clues, don't we? Like when Pod goes down to the engine room and he recognises it's got 2 warp cores and he's there. This'll easy do over warp 9.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like, what's that? And we haven't seen it in the show yet, but we've seen it in clips where it changes shape and there's this like third almost nacelle. And I think it's that, and I think it's some sort of slipstream depth drive.
That does seem like the best bet at the moment, but I think that's obviously going to be the mystery.
Yeah, but there's got to be some reason with this slipstream drive, because I think it's quite obvious that it's travelled to the Delta Quadrant really fast from the Alpha Quadrant. So why can't he use this slipstream drive to travel really fast back with them?
Yeah, I don't know. And if it is a slipstream drive, is that why the diviner wants it? Is he thinking, I can use it to... Because we've only really seen the prison planet. Like, we don't know if this diviner actually controls a whole area of space, whether he's got an empire. We don't know a lot about him, so maybe he's wanting it to aggressively expand somewhere. We don't know. All I'm hoping now, though, with the announcement that the first 10 episodes are getting split, is that we get some of these answers in the first 5 now. Otherwise, that's going to be pretty frustrating. Like when we thought we had 10 in a row, I was like, let it play out.
Yeah, there's enough time to tell a story in 10, but like, is it 5 in a row that this is only going to, that it's going to episode 5, so we've got 2 more weeks of it? Or is it going to go to episode 6, so it's shown 5 times?
No, I think it's 5, so I think we've only got 2
more. Yeah.
I'll double check that, but
because like this is episode 3, so if they're stopping after episode 5, it's...
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we've only got 2 more, because Discovery's due in a couple of weeks, so
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, then you get this beautiful bit where Janeway talks about what the Federation is, and we get the lovely graphic with sort of stylized animation, and there's so many like Easter eggs and stuff in there. Like we see all the different species, we see all the different ships.
Yeah, we see Discovery.
Yep, the Discovery's on there. A cross-field class. It doesn't necessarily.
Well, there was only 2 of them, weren't there?
Well, yeah, it could be the Glen.
Yeah, but either way, it's sort of like, why has she got a thing of Discovery and all that? Because like that was established at the end of season 2 that they were sort of deleting it from all the records and never to be spoke of again, for it just to be in a standard hologram of showing the Federation.
I don't know.
How pissed was Janeway when she found out about the Discovery?
Yeah, she would have been happy if she found out about the spawn drive. There's also, as well, the original Matt Jeffries Enterprise.
Yeah, that was nice.
Which I like that because a lot of people are sort of up in arms and they've replaced it with the Disco Prize and all that. And we have not had it officially said that they've done that. We can headcanon that there was a refit.
We can headcanon that there's been a refit before Kirk took over.
Yeah. There's been any time the Enterprise looks different, there's been a refit that we haven't seen, and that works. So, and this kind of canonizes that, really. So we're going to have to go with that.
Yeah,
so,
I'm quite happy to do with that.
Yeah, I am.
I'm quite happy that they've put into canon now on screen that the original Enterprise still exists in these new time, in New Trek.
Exactly, and I think that's a nice thing to do, and hopefully it'll stop people worrying about it, but I'm sure it won't. I'm sure there'll be loads of arguments, but anyway. And there's, like, you get the different reactions, like Rock says that she wants to boldly go.
Yeah.
Up for it all, whereas Dal's like, I'm not so sure, we can't trust people in authority, and you can kind of see where he's coming from. I mean, we know the Federation are good guys, but Dal's not seen 700 episodes of Star Trek. So
that's it. And he's never seen the Federation before. So it's not like, is it just another empire? Like, to him, all of these have been captured by the Kazons. So is he thinking, it's just another group like the Kazon, or...
Well, if he don't like the Kazon, he could have a right chat with Janeway about some of the stuff that...
Well, none of them have any reason to like the Kazon. Exactly. Even Gwen doesn't like the Kazon because she threatened them for bringing someone so young.
That's true, actually, yeah. And we get quite a sort of development of Gwen this episode. Like, we talked last week about sort of how close exactly are her and Dal, and are they mates or are they not mates? And... this episode seems to come down more on the side of they're not actually that close.
That they've talked, but they're not friends.
Yeah.
Like Gwen maybe saw it that they were because she was trying to find people her own age, just thereabouts, doctor. But Dal has always considered her as his guard.
Yeah.
Imprisoning him.
Definitely, and obviously we've got the roles reversed now, so they managed to find the brig and sling her in the brig. And we do get a little bit of the Diviner this week, but not a right lot. Like, we find out that they've managed to suppress the prison planet again, and they're not expecting another uprising. But he's all about getting his ship back now, and he sets off at the end. What did you, at the end, does he cloak the planet?
Yeah, he looked like he cloaked the planet. That's or whatever they're on. Yeah. I don't think it's actually a planet. I think it's more an large asteroid.
But yeah, it looked like he's leaving it, but he's like, cloak it so that nobody else goes there on the way, sort of thing. There's a really cute scene with the replicator where Jank and Pog's like, right, okay, I'm just going to get it to make everything. And then you have that really sort of sweet, innocent thing with Rock where she's like, well, this is the only thing I've ever
this is the only food I know. I've been a prisoner all my memorable life. I've been a prisoner on this asteroid.
So she
which is quite sad.
Yeah, it is. And I definitely feel like Rock's been kind of set up as the heart of the crew, really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just this sweet, innocent, and that's just a lovely scene. And Janeway says, "No, you can dream big."
Yeah.
I can see.
But I like a girl who knows what she likes.
Yeah, I can see Janeway taking Rock under her wing, perhaps more so than the other ones. She was obviously quite maternal with Seven and with Naomi Wildman. So
yeah, like she had a funny look on the bridge, didn't she, when she's talking to them all around the hologram time, and she goes like, "Who's the captain?" And Gwen immediately pipes up, "I'm the captain. Turn this ship around, set course for where we come from." And even Janeway sort of looks to, because at this point she's still restrained.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I imagine obviously Gwyn is going to integrate into the crew a bit more, but we don't get that this episode. They're not rushing it.
No,
but
which is quite good. I have no problem them not rushing.
No, I don't. And she is showing like a bit of regret. Like there's a bit where Rock talks to her and says, "Why didn't you help us?" And she seems to genuinely regret not doing more for them when they were back.
Yeah, and she said, "Well, my father said that you were all prisoners and criminals." No, we were kidnapped.
Yeah, but then
we were kidnapped and there were slaves.
And that's it. Like, is she lying a bit there? Because she was there when the Kazon brought them in, and the Kazon outright said to her, "I've brought you all the prisoners and all the orphans." So she knows that they're bringing orphans as well as criminals.
And it's like, what is it? Her dad, he calls them the unwanted.
Yeah, maybe that's quite a new thing, though. Like, maybe growing up, he always just told her, "Yeah, they're all prisoners," and it's only when he's...
Well, I think he's calling them, like, the unwanted, because, like, no one's missing the fact that he's kidnapping all these people. He's obviously found a source of labour, and it is slave labour, but no one's sort of challenging the fact he's taking all these people and no one misses them.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely that, but I'm wondering about when Gwyn was growing up, because it seemed like in the first episode that he's just starting to give her little bits of work to do, sort of behind the scenes, if you like. So it makes me wonder if while she's growing up, he's just told her, "Yeah, I'm a prison guard. These are all prisoners. These are all criminals." And then as she's got a bit older and he's wanted to bring her into it a little bit, he's given her a little bit more here and there, and she's starting to get the bigger picture, and that's where
but
she's at when we meet.
But like, it's that way, because I'm still quite sure that was a Catan that was brought in, the really young one, and she said, "If you bring us one that this young again," so she knew at that point this isn't a prisoner, this is someone.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm wondering if that's quite a recent development.
Yeah.
In terms of her understanding of what a dad does. Almost like sort of if you grew up in like a mafia family, you probably don't know a lot about the family business until you get old enough that they want to, not that I've grown up in a mafia family, but I've seen The Godfather and, I've seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they have like privileged childhoods and...
Yeah, and then
then as they get older, they're sort of taken out on the odd job or two, and
and this is what we really do. So then it's almost like we've got an episode of two halves, really. The first half is everything we've talked about, which is all character stuff, and then we get into the action of the episode, and that's Dal's picked this place for them to go, which it looks like he picks it at random, but could he be choosing what he because we know that he doesn't know where he comes from, so maybe he's looking for his home world, and possibly. That's why he's, I don't know, we'll maybe get some more on that later on, but Janeway tries to warn them they're going to be in the path of a red giant, and that's where they end up. So we basically get the second half is more or less action all the way. Like, Dal dismisses Janeway, but she's obviously still listening because she switches herself back on.
Yeah.
But there's this thing with Dal, all the power, and they make a bit of a joke. Like, if you divide all the power, then it's going to do this. But it doesn't seem to divert the life support or the gravity.
Or the shuttle replicator.
Yeah, so it's not really all power, is it? But it does divert the brig.
Yeah, I think it's sort of one of them things where it's said, and I think as a younger audience, you're not going to be bothered by that.
No, you're not going to question
But as adults, we're sort of picking up on that straight away. Hold on, you've diverted all power, and Janeway's gone to you. You sure you want to divert all power? Because it'll do, and he cuts her off.
Because it seems like that's the joke they're going for, is if you divert all power, everything else is going to switch off.
Yeah.
But they don't sort of go the whole hog with that. They it sort of divert power that's convenient for the plot, really, because it lets Gwyn know and it shows that Dal's a bit out of his depth, but it leaves other things on. And then the jettison all non-essentials, which includes 2 escape pods, only 2.
Well, however many escape pods it adds, it jettisoned them all.
It says ejecting pod 1, ejecting pod 2, and she says, "Are there any left?" And it says no.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's a bit, unless there were just 2 in that section that she was in, which I think that's probably what we have to.
I'm not sure, because, like, surely if she goes, "Is there any more?" And instead of saying, "Yes, there's some more in section so-and-so, so-and-so," it's, "No, there isn't. I'll replicate. Do you want me to replicate a shuttle?"
Yeah, true. So the shuttle replicator, then, is this a bit of a dig at Voyager because of all the shuttles that it went through?
Well,
maybe?
Possibly, but I don't have as big a problem as a lot of people I've seen online over this. Because, like, I do have problems with the scene, but I'm assuming on Voyager that they could replicate parts for shuttles, because we see them building the Delta Flyer. So I'm assuming they could replicate parts and panels and all that, but they had to put them together. We know from DS9, we never saw them, but we know that industrial replicators exist because they sent so many to Bajor. And an industrial replicator, I'm imagining, recreates machinery.
Yeah, yeah.
And we even had in TOS, we had on Devil in the Dark, we even had Scotty saying, we can make something. So I'm assuming that even in TOS days, you had some sort of replicating technology.
Yeah. So
I have no problem that they've taken the next step where
no, I don't. I think
we can replicate this. They obviously can't replicate deuterium and for fuel or dilithium for warp core, but there's no reason why they can't beam them things in once the shell is built.
Yeah, exactly. If they've got a stash of them, and then
But I do have a problem that it's replicating this shuttle while people are stood where it's replicating this shuttle.
Yeah, that's true. That scene is it's either a rip-off or an homage, whatever you want to call it. It's from Minority Report. There's a scene in that where the 2 characters fight in like a car assembly bay. And it's exactly the same thing, that like it's building a car around them as they're fighting, and I think it finishes with one of them speeding off in the car once it's Tom Cruise or whatever speeding off in it, and I think it's a very deliberate shout out to that, which is, if you're gonna steal from someone, there's worse things than stealing from
like I just thought this was a total disregard of any safety protocols the Federation
had.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. Maybe the safety protocols were offline, though. Maybe that's some of
as powering down safety protocols go off, but you can still replicate a shuttle.
Yeah, that got diverted, but the replicator didn't, so it could be that. And then obviously the little character arc we get is that Dal starts off, I don't need Janeway, I can do it all myself, but he can, and he does have a bit of growth that he realizes that he needs her help. But then this is again where we go back to what we were saying about Janeway. She doesn't come in and say, do this, do that, do that. She gets the best out of them. Like she pushes.
Yeah, she's pushing them to come up with the answer. Like I got the impression here, like when she's pushing them to get the answer and they get out of it, that at no point were they actually in danger, that she could have taken over at any time.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think she could have and would have done it if they hadn't got their act together.
Yeah.
Not least because, hologram Janeway's part of the ship, so she's probably programmed
for self-preservation and stuff.
Yeah, to save the ship if she can do. So you can't imagine that Starfleet sends out all these ships and then goes, oh, we've lost another one because some kids found it and drove it. So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I still stand with what I said before, that I think Janeway can control a lot more of this ship.
I think she can.
Than she's letting on.
And like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if in a later episode she shows that she can touch things, and they're like, "What? You've been able to touch things the whole time?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she's giving them what they need at the moment.
Yeah, she's sort of
in a full hand.
Yeah, she's realizing that they're not actually a threat, but I think she's still not fully up to where they are. But she's probably because she's part of the ship. She's probably overheard the conversation between Dal and Gwen when she's in the brig, and Rock and Gwen when they're in the brig. So she'll get the idea that this is a prison break. But why are kids having to break out of a prison? She'll be, what's going on here? Because
I think
that's really.
I think she can see the potential in them, and she wants to nurture it rather than cutting it off too early.
Yeah.
And she says at the end, this is like the formation of the Federation. You different people, diverse people coming together, and you've got potential.
Yeah, and I've seen worse ragtag crews. Yeah. Like, is she referring to the Marquis then, having a bit of dig at Chakotay and his crew?
I think she's having a go at all of them. I think she got back to the Alpha Quadrant and we're like, oh, this is what proper crews are like.
Well, she obviously got a lot of reward commendations, didn't she, once she got back to the Alpha Quadrant?
Says she's one of the most decorated ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was, when she left, when Voyager started, I think this was actually her first command.
Yeah, I think it was.
So she's gone to the Delta Quadrant for 7 years. Made it back, and I think they've just given her a load of medals for everything and taken her word for what she did.
She did do what she was sent out to do, which was to find out key.
Yeah.
So, it took her 7 years, but she did do that. So mission finished. Yeah. So, but maybe she had an illustrious career after, but.
Well, we do know that she got promoted to Admiral
very quickly, so I can't see her spending a lot more time as a captain. But you know what? She did get a lot done in Voyager. If you ignore all the times that she violated the Prime Directive and the Temporal Prime Directive and the Omega Directive and this, that, and the other, then she got a lot done. But it finishes again on a really high optimistic note where she says we've only just begun. So hopefully next week it's going to be a bit more sort of almost a Starfleet Academy show that everybody's always wanted. To
be fair, like we talked about the first episode, the premiere 2-parter, how much it felt you could see similarities to Star Wars. Where this felt more like Star Trek.
Definitely, yeah.
This was a Star Trek episode.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. I think anybody who had that issue with the first episode, hopefully will be a little bit more assured with this one.
Yeah.
That this is very much a Star Trek show. So far, it's going well, it's Prodigy.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Definitely. So we'll see what episode 3 brings us. But for now, sorry.
I know it's confusing.
I know. They're just.
I think once we get a few in, it'll get easier to
Definitely, yeah. So back to DS9 then, the Dominion War. So Improbable Cause, and this is where it starts to kick off, really, isn't it? This takes the next gear in the.
Yeah, this is sort of like let's. We've been cruising. Let's step on gas a bit.
This 2-parter could have been the season 3 finale.
Very easily.
I don't know why it wasn't really. Because we get the Adversary, which is a good episode, but it's not huge in the way this one's huge. This one really ups the stakes. Everything.
Yeah, if Improbable Cause had actually been season finale, Dyer's cast.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure you could have done it that way. I think you would have had to have both because this is a whole episode basically focused around a guest character. And it shows how confident DS9 was at this point that you can have a gripping episode of television And the main focus of it isn't even one of your main characters. It's this guest character who we've built up over 3 years to the point that he's one of the most interesting characters in the show.
Yeah, like I think saying he's a guest character is sort of pushing it because
true.
I think if you ask people, is Garak a main character or a guest star character on DS9, people would say he's the main character.
Yeah, he definitely straddles that line, particularly later on. But I mean, at this point, he's been in it a fair bit, but he's not.
Yeah.
Particularly in the later seasons, it does get to the stage where you expected Garak to be in nearly every single episode.
Yeah.
At this point, it was still, it's a Garak episode. But yeah, so it starts off literally with a bang then. We get, obviously, Bashir and Garak are talking about Shakespeare, but...
Yeah, and Garak is right. Julius Caesar should have seen what was coming. He saw it straight away.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think, and there is a thread of this, isn't there, with Garak and Bashir talking about literature and things like that in other episodes, that Cardassian stories don't work the same way as human stories.
No, not at all.
They don't appreciate the sort of irony of Caesar's situation and the tragedy of it. They're like, well, that's just silly. You should have known what was.
Yeah.
But yeah, his shot blows up then. And I love how straight away Odo's really suspicious of it. Like, even when they're going round with the tricorders and stuff, Odo's like, he sort of does his thing that he usually only does with but he's doing it with Garak now. And it's even got to the stage, like, when they're in the infirmary, and Odo's outright just going, look, we think you were in the Obsidian Order. And up until that point, it's always been a bit unsaid as that.
Yeah, like, I think Odo knows he was in the Obsidian Order, but he can't prove it.
Oh, yeah, that's it. And, like, Bashir, I think at this stage, he's pretty sure that he probably was, but I think Bashir's a bit more gullible and can get strung by Garak's lies, whereas Odo's just got no time for it at all. And I think that's what makes this dynamic between Odo and Garak so much more interesting. So up until this point, we've always seen him with Bashir, and Bashir gets led along by it and gets swept up in the mystery and the romance of it, whereas Odo's just like, let's stop messing about now, you know.
Yeah, Odo's very straight in it and straight to the point, and he's honest and truthful, and
he's just got no time for it. It's like, if you want our help, if someone's trying to kill you, you need to tell us what's going on, and we're not in the mood for this.
For you playing.
And like, there's a lovely bit later on where when they think it's the Romulans, and they say, well, why would the Romulans try and kill you? And Garak says, I don't know. And Odo says, well, no, he's telling the truth, because if he did know, he'd be making something up.
Yeah, he'd already been stringing a whole set of lies together.
Yeah. And going back to the first sort of confrontation then, and Garak says that he was exiled for tax avoidance. That's his latest one. And that would be fantastic if it turned out that was true. That'd be a great case if that was actually the case. But somehow I doubt it. I don't think we ever get the true story. I mean, Andrew Robinson wrote the novel, didn't he? Where he actually delved into it.
He's wrote the novel where he tells it, but on screen, for what's canon, it's always left as a bit of a mystery what has happened.
Yeah, we know it's something to do with Nabrantane, and in the previous Garak episode, The Wire, where he tells about 4 different versions of the same story, that one's, there's probably little bits of truth in each of them.
Well, it's like Garak says something with a good lie is that it's based on the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, it's like, I can't remember which... like when it is, but there's one of them where he's been telling a load of stuff to Julian, and Julian asks him which one was true, and he goes, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the lies.
Yeah.
And there's the bit where Bashir tells him about the boy who cried wolf, and Garak's answer to that's really good. There, it's like, I love when he's
like Bashir's going, it's a moral that you shouldn't tell lies. No, Doctor, you've got that wrong.
Yeah.
The lesson is that you should never tell the same lie twice.
Yeah. And I love the bit where he starts telling it, and he says, "Oh, and he said the wolf was coming, and they all congratulated him." Garak goes, "Clever lad." He's really impressed by this boy who's clever enough to spin these lies and everything. So it gives us a bit of insight into Garak and everything. But then I get the impression there that Garak's probably heard that story before, but he's letting Bashir have his moment and letting Bashir tell his story, and he's thinking, I've got a witty comeback to this at the end. I'm just going to let him...
Well, it's hard to know with Garak just how much of another species culture he'll have studied. And...
Yeah, true. I imagine... It's one of them stories that there's probably equivalents of it in most other cultures.
Yeah.
Not in. There's maybe an equivalent version in Cardassian culture, but where they finish up by saying, and that, you know what that means, don't you? Don't tell the same lie twice. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten eaten by voles or whatever the Cardassian equivalent is. And a similar thing is when he's in Odo's office and he's going, well, how do you know I haven't read all of your security things before? And you can absolutely believe that with Garak.
And like Odo sort of looks at him, and I think the reality is that Garak has read all of his security files.
And even if he's not read Odo's, he's either got his own or he's got other sources of intelligence that he probably knows as much, if not more.
Yeah.
Than Odo does. And this is one of them episodes where once you know that it's Garak who blew up his own shop, it is effectively the first half of the episode is just a performance by Garak to nudge Odo to the next stage. He's just absolutely playing him like a violin.
Yeah.
There's evidence of a Flaxian assassin.
It's first time watching this, you don't know that it's Garak.
No, exactly.
It's really well done. And we have had previous episodes where Garak has been attacked in his shop randomly for no reason.
Oh, it's believable.
Just for being a Cardassian, so...
Inabran Tain finds it funny, doesn't he, with Garak? He's like, you're a piece of work, to think to do it that way just to get Odo involved. And it is quite an elaborate and dangerous plan, really. And that there's a great bit where Odo interrogates the Flaxian, and it's almost like Columbo or something. Like, he'll ask him a question about the investigation, then he'll ask him about a perfume.
Yeah.
He'll give him another question, and then he goes back to another perfume. But it turns out the perfumes that he's picking out, that's part of his interrogation as well, isn't it? He's almost the Flaxian off guard.
Yeah, when you mix all three of these, it creates a poisonous toxin that most people wouldn't know about.
And the assassin guy's just like, oh no,
I just don't think she'd like the scent.
Yeah, and this is another one of them where when Odo's talking about someone, he's so obviously thinking about Kira. He's making up this story, like, this lady friend, and you almost feel sorry for Odo. You're like, oh, he's imagining Kira in his mind when he's doing this story. And obviously the Flaxian gets killed, and it looks like Romulans.
Well, the Romulans don't deny it either, which is odd.
That's the great bit, because they have that sort of cut, don't they, between it, like they say, oh, I don't imagine the Romulans will be very forthcoming, and then it just goes to, we blew him up. We
blew him up. We've been after him for a year, and we got... we found out that he'd been on his station.
That's it. Not bothered. We did it. They're quite refreshing in a way, the Romulans, that they're all about the subterfuge and the lies and the secrets, but they're also quite forthcoming sometimes.
It's like Odo's questioning them because we have reason to believe that he was trying to kill Garak, and they go, Garak, a cobbler, a tailor, will correct our records.
We'll correct that. That's quite, like, it shows how much the Tal Shiar know if they know the occupation of civilians on a...
Well, it shows how much interest they actually take in Garak.
Yeah, that's true.
You've got to, saying he's a cobbler is probably... No, they know full well he was a tailor.
Well, obviously, the Tal Shiar will know exactly what he is, but as we know with Romulans, there's layers, isn't there, of information?
Yeah.
So this one's probably only got this entry level stuff.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Are the Romulans playing it where they go, oh, the cobbler? And it's to see if Odo will tell them the truth of what he does.
True. See if Odo lies about it.
Yeah. And that would be a very Romulan thing to do as well.
Yeah, right. We know that their security chief don't want us to know who Garak is, so that tells us that Garak's more important than
Yeah.
Odo gets a good dig about the Romulans, though. Oh, they could do with a good tailor with their That's sassy, Odo. Very sassy. And then he goes to meet this informant, and I think, do we maybe see this informant one more time? I can't remember exactly, but I have a feeling maybe we get...
I've got a feeling that Odo meets him one more time and he gets assassinated straight after.
Yes, possibly. And I mean, it's a plot contrivance because we need someone to give Odo some information at this point in the story, but it's also believable that Odo would have an old contact from Cardassia.
Well, we do know that Odo worked as the chief of security for the Cardassians on DS9.
Yeah, and I get the feeling that this is one of those characters that they were just trying out, and if they'd have liked this idea, or if they'd have needed him again, they could have used this character again, but it just gets...
Yeah, it became sort of, no, we don't need him.
Yeah. And I always had, and this is just a total fan theory, but this guy says to Odo, do you still do the neck trick? And Odo says, no, I don't do that anymore. And there's an episode where Gul Dukat's talking to Odo about his neck trick. And he says, oh, Gul so-and-so used to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So my headcanon has always been that this is that Gul that Dukat's
talking
about because he likes the neck trick. I mean, it could be, it doesn't have to be, it don't matter. We don't know anything else about that Gul other than he likes the neck trick, but I just like that as a little bit of headcanon that, oh, we have mentioned a Gul who likes that, and this guy mentions it, so maybe. Then we get Odo tells him all these other ones are dead, and Garak's really happy about it. He's like,
yeah,
that's brilliant. If it was any other day, I'd be having a bad. Fantastic. And Odo's not been as in the dark as we thought, because he says, I've known since I spoke to the Flaxian that he didn't blow up your shop. And this gets...
the Flaxian poisons people.
Exactly. And so Odo's known what... They've both been playing off each other, really. Like, Garak's thought that he's got the upper hand. Odo's thought that he's had the upper hand. And it comes to a head that we finally get a bit of cooperation between the two of them now. And Garak calls Mila. Now, again, it's never...
Well, at this point, Garak actually thinks that Tane is going to be on the list for assassination.
Oh, yeah, he's doing it to try and help Tane. And again, it's never ever said officially. I think it is in Andrew Robinson's book, but Mila's Garak's mum, isn't she? I mean, that's...
Yeah, Mila's his mum and Tane's his dad's in the book.
Yeah, and Mila's like the housekeeper of Tane, so he obviously had an affair with her, and Garak's the product of that and everything. But this is like one of the first times it actually looks like Garak genuinely cares about someone else. Like he genuinely looks worried about Tane.
Yeah.
It genuinely looks like he cares about Mila. And it's good to see his defenses come down a little bit at this stage. And then we get him taking the piss out of Bashir, where he's like, oh, you've got to get the hidden compartment. And
yeah. This ice linear chip. Now, the thing is, like, he's obviously taking the piss out of Bashir when Bashir asks him what he wants to do. But we know that Garak tells the truth within his lies.
Oh, yeah.
So there probably isn't an isolinear chip in that panel behind his wall, but the Doctor won't go check on it because he thinks he's talking bullshit because I told him to eat it.
Yeah, most likely. And this shows why this has to be an Odo episode, not a Bashir episode. For all the things we've said, but yeah, Bashir's just too easily strung along.
Too gullible.
Yeah, Garak needed someone who was going to challenge him and push him a bit and work out what's going on. And Bashir wouldn't have done it. He'd just got caught up in it all. Maybe not season 6 Bashir, but certainly season 3 Bashir.
I think even season 6 Bashir would.
Yeah, maybe. So then they end up, we get the reveal of the Romulans. So we get Tane captures them, but he's working with the Romulans. And we find out it's a joint thing between the Tal Shiar and the Obsidian Order. And this explains what was going on back in Defiant, that they were building these ships that...
well, we knew they were...
out.
That's the fleet the Kardashians were building, but they've also been building them with the Romulans, and they've all got cloaking devices.
Yeah. So, this is...
But Garak's really clever here, isn't he? When he meets Tane and Tane's there, he starts being racist towards the Romulans to see Tane's response to work out, and the Romulans' response to it.
And it's like Odo says, like, Odo's quite open with it. He says, look, I'm not impressed by either of you because all you do is you both go to subject lie about everything you're doing and try and look so clever that you end up saying nothing. And there is a bit of that, like, because...
Well, it is, isn't it? It's like Garak saying the stuff to Tane to try trigger him or trigger the Romulans to find out how close they are and who's in charge. And Tane explains it to Odo what he's doing and why he's done it.
Like, you see what he's doing? That's really clever. And you can imagine just Odo going, for goodness sake, can you just get on with it? You know, stop trying to one-up each other, you know. And yeah, effectively, this is, we're going to destroy the Founders. That's the whole plan. Yeah. We're going to go over there. We're going to destroy the Founders of the world.
We know everything that you do. We know where the planet is because you've been sharing information with the Romulans as per your agreement to have the Defiant.
Yeah, and again, like, we talked a lot about this when we talked about who started this war and who did what and everything. And basically, the Federation started it by going back into Dominion space after they'd been told not to.
Yeah.
But now the Tal Shiar and the Obsidian Order are really escalating this. And
they're there, aren't they? Like, when they're going, if we fail, they'll have a war.
Yeah. And you can sort of see where the Founders are coming from. From their point of view, it's like, we're minding his own business. Admittedly, we've got a bit of a fascist empire going on, but we'll ignore that.
But it's our fascist empire.
Yeah. And we're happy, minding his own business. All of a sudden, these ships start coming in from the other side of the galaxy. They build colonies over here. We blow up the colonies and we say, look, stop coming over here. They carry on coming over here. In retaliation to that, all we do is we kidnap some of them and we do like a holodeck thing, an imaginary thing to work out what they might do. But we leave it at that.
We'll let them go.
We let you go. We give you your nice shiny ship back. We send you back. We send over one of the Founders to see if Odo fancies one of his fellow officers. Pretends to be her. Probably was going to kill her, but didn't work out. But we didn't. Just did that. We just wanted to see what we're going on with Odo's love life. That's fine. That's all we've done. One of us, Jem'Hadar, got marooned on your station by accident, but that wasn't our fault. That was some trainer who brought
somebody traded some wreckage that had a young Jem'Hadar in it.
So that wasn't all to do with us, and now you've decided to gang up and blow up his home world. So
yeah, it like the Dominion war. We're meant to look at the Federation as being the ones suffering. But the Alpha and Beta Quadrant caused all this. They're the aggressors. Up until now, all the aggression has come from our side.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not even like it'd be a bit different if the Federation had gone over there and gone, right, the Dominion are oppressing people, we've got to stop it. And proactively gone to try and take the Dominion down. But they haven't. They've just kept on chipping away at them and irritating them until the Dominion have gone, right, we've had enough.
We're going to come over to your sector, your territory. We know that we can't do this in Klingon space. We can't just go in and set up territory.
Yeah,
we know we can't do this in Romulan space. We can't do it in Cardassian space. So we're going to come into Dominion space and we're just going to, we'll have that planet, and we'll set colonies up.
Yeah, not good, lads, not good. But to be fair, I think at this point, the Federation can take a step back and go, look, technically we might have started it, but these Romulans and Cardassian lads are making it a lot worse now.
What have the Dominion at this point done to the Romulans and Cardassians for them to do this, to warrant this?
Oh, nothing, but the Romulans and Cardassians are much more like, I can see what they might do. So we don't want none of that.
So this is a preemptive strike that they're planning.
And so we get all that, which is huge revelations and everything. But I think the genius of this episode is that it is a character piece, because you get Garak's genuinely upset that Tain thinks he betrayed him. Like, again, he drops his guard for a minute there. Because
I never betrayed you. Everything I did was for you.
Yeah, which again we can't confirm or deny that. We don't know what happened.
But we can confirm that he's gone running off here because he thinks Tain is in as much danger as other 5 operatives that have been killed, and there was ought to be an attempt on himself.
Yeah,
and that's why he brought Odo into it.
Yeah, and then to say that all of this is a build up to what's we're gonna get the big battles next week. That's coming. But the actual cliffhanger is it's a moral dilemma. It's a character that we know, and it's whether he makes a good choice or a bad choice. And that's the
Tain gives him the choice. He tells Garak, "You're free to go."
Yeah.
I actually believe you that you're not lying, and these two probably do know how to tell if the other one's lying or not.
Yeah.
And Tain's gone, "You can go," but Odo can't because he's a founder.
Yeah, and
I'll release him after the mission.
And this is what I mean about the sophistication of DS9's writing, that we're going to do this massive, massive two-parter, not even at the end of the season. And the actual cliffhanger is not going to be something blowing up or a battle starting. It's going to be 3 blokes in a room and one of them being given a choice, and that's
it ain't because he actually shakes hands and goes, right. He accepts Tain's offer, doesn't he, to join him?
Yeah,
and that because it ends as with them shaking hands and Odo looking on.
Yeah, exactly, and that's ballsy to do a cliffhanger.
And that's the cliffhanger.
Yeah. It could have been they could have rejigged the episode a little bit and had the attack starting or whatever, but no. Or the reveal of Tain could have been the cliffhanger, but it's like, no, we're going to do an extremely character-focused cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And the character that's not in danger, but the character that we're asking you to emotionally invest in is a secondary character that
may or may not be a goodie.
Yeah. So, excellent stuff from DS9. And next week, I think it's going to be even better. So looking forward to talking about that.
I'm looking forward to watching it. Like I'm like you. I don't know how many times I've seen this episode, so I do know what's coming. But still, I've deliberately not put it fresh in my memory for tonight.
Well, this is it. You can crack on now. You can watch it now that we've finished this one. So we'll be back next week talking about episode 4 of Prodigy and the Dice cast from DS9. If you want to get in touch with us in the meantime, we're at RetrekPod on Twitter, retrekpod@gmail.com. Come and join us on our Facebook group. Just search for Retrek, or check out the YouTube videos. We've got the streams and the podcast are on there. Elliot's got his Voyager model at the minute that he's building on Retrek.
I've had to be in a different part of my room because the circuit boards have sort of gone like that as I'm prototyping everything together.
Fair enough. But if you want to see how to build an electronic, all singing, all dancing Voyager, check it out. How many videos are you up to in that series for Voyager now?
I think it's 9 or 10, but some of them are very short and they're sort of like, I've got videos where I'm showing the effects that I've put together before they're going in the ship, just on the table. And then I'm sharing how I've done it also. There's sort of a second video comes out of, like there's 3 videos on there, my warp cells moving, because there's like the first one really quick where it's just the struts going like that. Then there's another one where I've actually got all of the cells moving, and then there's a third one where I've shown all the mechanism inside and how I actually did it. So it's dragging out into quite a lot of videos, but it's because I'm showing how I've done the effects for people to do themselves.
If you do want to build a Voyager, check out these videos on Retrek Model Studios. We'll see you next time. So thanks for trekking with us this time, and we'll see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you. Bye-bye.